Hey guys, this is going to be an install video for Namalsk server, Dayz Epoch version 1.0.6.1. This is actually going to be a first in a series of videos. I'm going to show you how to do all of the Night Stalker features like the bloodsuckers and the blowouts, the cold weather stuff. You know, there's some custom class names like warm clothes and dynamic weather effects, that kind of stuff. I'm going to show you how to do all of that, but this first video is just going to be a raw install of a Namalsk server just to get it operational. I'm starting from scratch again. This is the third time I've done an install video on here, but I like to start from scratch. This Namalsk is not built into Dayz Epoch or Arma 2, so it's a third-party map that you have to download and install. So you need to download Namalsk first of all, the client files, which includes the map and all of the features, the modules and stuff. The easiest place to get it is Dayz Launcher. So you install Dayz Launcher on your machine. A lot of you probably have this, and you're going to go to your mods section. And Namalsk 0.75 is the version we want. That's the only one on here, of course, but there's different versions on Armaholic, but we want this version, so download this one. 831 megabytes. It takes a while. I've already downloaded it. It can take quite a long time. But before you start the download, go to settings. If you're doing a fresh install on Dayz Launcher, or even then, the default puts these into your My Documents, I think, or the Documents folder. You want to change your mods and download path here to your Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead folder that's in Steam, in your Steam folder, wherever that is. So change that path, browse to it, and then save it, and then download Namalsk. That's all you need to do with Dayz Launcher. Once that's done, I've done these before, these install videos. This works on a dedicated server, a remote dedicated server, or right here on your on like a LAN dedicated box that you can, on like a LAN server, or you can do it right on the gaming machine. I have to do it on here because my capture is on here. So I'm going to make a new folder. Let's call it Dayz server. Right? And then I'm going to go into where my Arma 2 is installed. So mine's just on the C drive. Program files, x86. This is the default, by the way, for Steam. So Steam folder, Steam apps, common. And there's your Arma 2. Technically, you only need the add-ons from Arma 2. You don't need this, but it's much easier just to dump all that stuff in there and not worry about picking individual files. So I'm going to copy all. I'm going to do a Control-A there to select all those. Right-click, and you see I've got 16 files hanging there. I'm going to drop it there. So right-click, drag, and drop, and then hit Copy here. And it's going to copy all those over. This will take longer if you're using an old style hard drive. I've updated M2 drive, so it's a little faster, but same thing though. You're going to put all of your Arma 2 files in that Dayz server folder. Same thing with all the files from Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead, including our Namalsk download, and you should also have a copy of the Dayz Epoch client files. If you go into this mod.cpp, right click, you need Notepad++, or I guess a regular text editor will work too, but I use Notepad++. Dayz Epoch 1.0.6.1. Make sure it's that version, not an older one. So just grab all these files, including the Namalsk and the Dayz Epoch client files. Control-A to select all. Right click and drop on there. Copy them. Let that copy over. We're done with that folder. And you need the server folders, or server files rather, sorry. So we'll go into Epoch mod. So epochmod.com. Mine's auto-filling because I've been there a million times. But you go into downloads, Dayz Epoch. This is where you'll get the client files if you don't have them. Just download them from one of these mirrors. So we need the server files, so download those. And I could minimize that. Okay, when it asks you to replace these files, you're asking to overwrite, just hit yes. So now you have all of the ARMA 2 and ARMA 2 Operation Arrowhead files in here. Like, you don't need this. You could delete this, and it's just easier to copy all this shit over than to sit there and piss around just pulling the add-ons over, because this is what it really wants out of ARMA 2 is just these add-ons, because it has Shinaris in there. So, but it's easier just to pull them all over, so that's the way I do it. Here you go into your downloads and you've got this 7-zip file. So have 7-zip installed on your machine. Just that 7-zip. I think I have links to that shit. Some of the stuff I do, like Heidi SQL, Notepad++. There's the Notepad++ syntax highlighting. My other videos have links to that stuff. You can check those out. Go to 7-zip and you want to extract it to a folder. So there you have, and this can be deleted. Whoop, not create shortcut. How about let's delete it. You can save them for later, I just delete them. So open up your Dayz servers. Now you don't have to have all of these files. You can just, Control A and copy over all of this shit if you want. But you see there's mission files in here that we don't need. So let's just copy these over individually. So we need a server file. So copy that over. So there's that. And BattleEye goes into, you don't need the BattleEye folder here. It needs to go into the config folder. So open up the config examples. And we want Namalsk. Instance _ 15 _ Namalsk. That's the config folder. And we also need the matching batch file to launch the server. So do Control on your keyboard, left Control I do, and click on the mouse. Now you have both of these selected, and you're going to copy these over. Okay, and I'm going to make, you just click in here to deselect. I'm going to make a shortcut for the batch file, or yeah, shortcut right there, so I can launch the server from here and not have to open this up. I close that down and reopen it. Now you see this instance folder is right there. Okay, now we need the BattleEye in there. So you see there's only 3 files in here. So open up that instance 15 Namalsk, and you want to copy this BattleEye folder over there. There's your BattleEye filters right there. That's good. Okay, so we did that one, that one, that one. Now we need keys. There's a keys folder over here. Open that up, and you see this is the vanilla key. You don't need that, but I'm gonna leave it in there anyway because I was playing vanilla. Or is that Dayz? Is that? I'm not sure if that. Yeah, that's vanilla. So open up this keys folder. You need this Dayz Epoch key, server key. Copy that over. And you also need, in this external keys folder, Namalsk. You need these 2. These are the Namalsk server keys. Where did they go? Okay. Copy those. Alright. Just keep drilling down here. You need the MP missions. Open that. This MP missions over here on the server. You can delete this README. You need the Namalsk mission file. Okay, backup one. The SQL We're going to use that when we install our database. I'm going to copy that over because I don't want to dig back into here. So I'm going to keep that. This tools one just has database stuff in it, database backup samples. Yeah. And also, what is there something about log files, rotate logs? Yeah. I'm not doing that on an install video. That's something you can put on your server later. That's just to rotate. You see there's like a, I think it deletes old ones or something. I never use this shit. But anyways, that's in there if you want to use it, the database backup stuff. There's a sample, and then there's PHP stuff. Trader config tool. I think that's more for the devs to use. We don't use that. You need all 4 of these DLLs. These 2. That README you can leave alone. Copy these over. Okay, what does this actually say? Oh, this is an install guide. So it says you need this redistributable 2015 x86 version. I don't have it, and my server was running just fine. But what does this say? Unblock. Oh, unblock the DLLs. That means let's see. Okay, these are the 4 we copied over. So if you go to let's just grab one. Go to properties. I don't think these are. That's not blocking these. It would say it was if it was. Yeah, it's not blocking. Wait, is there a what security? No. It's not blocking them as far as I can tell. It would say on there. Yeah, that's just for advanced stuff. Yeah, it's not blocking these DLLs. It would say down here. So, I don't know. This redistributable 2015 x86 version. Let's see if might as well just install it. So in the README there, let's go check this. Yeah, okay, there's the redistributable for 2015. I want the x86 version. It said all, let me see, all prior versions. I think I had them all. Let me see what it lists here. Grab this here. What, for fuck's sake. Come on. Oh, come on, you fucking... Let's see what this says. Latest supported. There's 2013, 2012. I have the 2008. I have the 2010. You know, if you go into apps and features, or whatever version of Windows you got, I got 2008. Both of them for 2010, 2013, and the 2015 I only have x86. But like I said, I've been running servers and it's not bombing out, so I don't think you need them. Okay, so what is this update for? Oh, no longer available. Thanks. They must have merged it with something else. One of the new updates. So let's install this one. I don't think you need it, but let's do it. Okay, setup successful. That's very good. Okay, so this is just how to set up your MySQL. Yeah. Okay. So that's good. Okay. So we installed that like it said. I don't know that you have to, but. So here's the 2015 X64 and the X86. So have them updated, okay? Just do as it says. And so we got the battle eye. We got everything we need from here. So this can be closed. Let's go ahead. Yeah, let's delete that install. I don't need that. Let me check my... So we... Yeah, let me open this up. So we merged all the files. We got all the files we need now. So now we need to install our XAMPP, or you could use the what do you call it? I have a community version of MySQL server community. Whoop. Okay, so download MySQL community server. Previous versions. So we could normally I use XAMPP because I think it's much more convenient, but you can use this as well. Yeah, they have zip archive here. So you could use this if you want to download this and use it, but I like to use XAMPP. I just like it better. So XAMPP spelled like that. You could download it here, or I go to SourceForge. Yeah, download that. And you also need to download HeidiSQL. Whoop. Yeah. HeidiSQL. You can use other SQL editors. I like this one. It's brilliant. So just go to downloads, go to the installer, and download this here, 9.4 installer. Save that. Is this still downloading? What's this doing? Why is this not? Okay. Goofy. Yeah, just download that shit. If you kind of need to have Notepad++, and you need to have PBO Manager. I think I have links for all that shit. Check my other videos for the links. I think, let's see, there's PBO Manager, XAMPP Server, HeidiSQL, Notepad++, and make sure these are updated to 2015. Arma 2 uses this DirectX 9.0C. When you install Arma 2 and Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead, it will install this proper version. But if you're using a dedicated box, then you might have to run... Microsoft has a legacy installer for older versions, because this new machine is running like DirectX 11 or DirectX 12. So you need to have an older version. Otherwise, you will get DLL errors when you install. So if you see those DLL errors, it's either because you didn't install these Visual C++ redistributables, or because you don't have the proper version of DirectX. So make sure you do that. So let's go ahead and install XAMPP. Go to your downloads folder, and we see XAMPP installer. Just double click that guy. Yeah, antivirus warning in this. Yeah, I don't know what. I never had any problems with that. So next, you don't need all of this shit. If you want PHP MyAdmin on your machine, then go ahead and install it. In fact, let me just go ahead and install all this shit. You don't need all this stuff. You need the MySQL server, and that's about it. You don't need Apache. Looks like it's installing that. If that's uninstalled, you should be able to uninstall that. But you don't need all this stuff. You just need the MySQL server. But I'm just going to install everything by default. Select a folder. It's going to make a folder. I'm doing it, but to the default. But if you want to install it somewhere else, then you click this and select somewhere else. Okay, just close this. It's just a questionnaire thing, I think. Next. Those of you who watch my other videos are probably getting deja vu because I've done this 3 times now. Okay, so hurry up. You can also install HeidiSQL. To the default, sure. I'll create an icon. Okay, these 2 I don't want, so install. I'm not going to launch it right now. Okay, close that. Nope. Finish. So I'm going to pin this to the taskbar. And let's set up XAMPP first of all. So I'll go to where it installed it. Remember where it installed it, hopefully. Mine just installed on C in this XAMPP folder. So you want to have this control panel. XAMPP-control.exe. I'm going to pin that to the taskbar. And I'm going to start it there. So you don't need to do anything else with this in here. Close that. And you're going to start this. Just choose English or German. Okay, so this is what your control panel looks like. The first thing I like to do in here, you see no services are started, and you can't install them as services on this because I think it's because of that UAC thing. What you can do if you want, well, let's do this first. Hit this config. You see it's highlighting that in blue because it wants you to touch it. This tells you which of the modules in here you want to auto start. So you don't need all this stuff. All you need is MySQL. You don't need all that shit. But I'm going to have it start MySQL when the control panel launches. So put a check mark there. If you're using PHP MyAdmin, I did this on another video, but you start it here, or you put a check mark here if you want to start it automatically. But I use HeidiSQL, so I'm just going to start that. Hit save. Now, if I quit this, make sure you use quit as well. Now you see it started the MySQL server automatically because that is checked. So notice that if I close this, it's still running here. So you have to hit quit. Now it's not running. If you want this XAMPP to start when your computer starts, like if you're using a dedicated server, you can go into run shell, type in shell startup, and these are your startup programs. If you, let me quit that. If you drag this in here, come on. Where's the, maybe you have to get the, I don't think you can, you have to do it through the C XAMPP control. So if you do that, if you put this control panel in this startup window, when you start your computer, it will start XAMPP. And then if you have that MySQL checked, it'll start the server. So if you restart your computer, it'll start this automatically, and it will start the MySQL server. So you can do it like that if you want. If you're on a dedicated server, you can do the same thing with the server. If you drag and drop this, like that, if you put that in there, it'll start your server as well. When you restart your machine, it'll start your server. I'm not going to do all that, but that's how you do it. You can do it like that. Most people are using BEC, I think, but if your machine does a forced restart, then that will restart it for you. Just a tip, anyway. You don't, that's just you don't have to do that. I'm just saying you can do it that way. So next on a list, I wanna have the scheduler start automatically. So I'm gonna hit this config in this MySQL line, and I'm gonna edit this my.ini. Okay, so it brings up this batch of shit here. I'm looking right here, this MySQLD header, where it's in the brackets. I'm gonna hit enter, and let me make sure I type this in properly. Where's that? Yeah, right here. Right here, you see this event scheduler on? So I want that right underneath this header. So I want event underscore scheduler space equals space ON capital. ON capitalized. That will start your event scheduler automatically when you start up the MySQL server. Okay? Yeah, I think I did all that. Okay. So let's just go ahead and save this. Close it. And I showed this before, but if you want to use my PHP admin, you have to start the Apache server like that, and then you can just hit admin right here, this admin button, and it brings it up. There's PHP my admin. You can do your edits in here. You can create databases and do all your edits with this, but I don't care for it, so I don't use it. So, and that would be also if you're doing a remote login to your database, you could use my PHP admin as well, and instead of it's saying local host, with the loopback IP, you'd put your server IP in there, and you could do your edits that way. I think there's a couple other steps to set that up properly, but I'm not going to go through them. So once this is running, you can close it with this. So it's still running down here. Just remember that if you hit close, it's still running. You have to hit quit in order to shut it down. So let's go into create our database now. So we need Heidi SQL. Let me delete this. I've got it pinned to the taskbar here. So I had a prior instance of this. Let me go ahead and delete that. So this is what it'll look like when you start it up. And you want to create a new session name. And I just call them Dayz. You will log in initially as root. All of this is default. Just hit open. Open. Thank you. Okay, so Heidi SQL looks like this. You want to start a database, but you need to make sure it's named properly. So let's go into our instance folder, instance 15, Namalsk. Look at hive ext.ini. And if you don't have extensions pull up, I can see all my extensions. That's in, you go into folder options. Options. Yeah, see, so you go into folder options, go into view, and then show hidden files and folders and drives, and then take this check mark out of hide extensions for known file types, and you'll see these. you need to have these files unhidden as well, because your client-side RPT is in a hidden folder. So do that. So hive ext.ini. Okay. What we're looking for, this has your time settings. So this will start the server at 1 p.m. You can see it's kind of self-explanatory, but if you want to start at night, you would change that to like 24 or something, so it'll be midnight. Host is always localhost, unless you have a remote database or an official. You're on the official Hive, which I don't think there is one anymore. Maybe there is. I don't know. Database. This is your database name. So you can leave it as Dayz Epoch if you want. If you're installing multiple servers, obviously that has to be unique. You can't have the same database name. So you're going to right-click, come to your MySQL, right-click here on that banner, and hit Create New Database. And let's name it Namalsk _epoch, and I'm going to put the version in there. I like to do that. So Namalsk _epoch 1061. Hit OK, and it makes an empty database. If you click on that, you'll see it has a green check mark there. So you want to have that selected. So this needs to match that database name. So Namalsk _epoch. Okay. And we need to create a user. You can change this if you want. If you're on a test server, you can change it to root with no password. But if you're running a public server, you want to change this. You can have your username be anything you want. So you can just leave it as Dayz, and then create your own password, or just use that one. I mean, don't use this. This is stupid. But here's how you create a user to manage this database now. Right click or click. You see this little thing here? That's your users. You click on that, and I like to delete this stuff. You don't need this. What you need is root localhost. You don't need any of this other shit. So we're not using PHP myadmin. So you can delete this one. You can delete this one. You can delete that one. This doesn't have, this is not like, I don't even know why they even bothered putting that there. But root localhost is how you log into this thing initially. So notice that when we logged into this, it had no password. We want to password protect this. So you can either use one of these, you have to have a minimum of 6 characters in the password, but these are generated from a thing, like a auto generator that's built into MySQL. You can use one of these passwords and just copy and paste it. That's a pretty insane 30-character password. We're not running an enterprise database here with all kinds of customer data, so it's just a Dayz server. So let me just put in what did I use before? No. Good day? Yeah, GOODDAY. Okay, so this is your global account too. This root is your super user. It has all privileges. Super, you see that? So password protect your root account. Save that. So now if I shut this down and try to log back in, right? Can't log in with no password. So that's password protecting your root account. So we need to make a, you can have the root account run this if you want. I don't think that's recommended though. There's already, this Dayz username, you can use that. So go to users again, and we're going to add a user. And right here we're going to name it Dayz, and we'll just use this password. Fuck it, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Don't use that on a live server, by the way. Don't be a dumbass. You know, but it has no global privileges, as you can see. It doesn't have shit, right? You gotta assign privileges. So we're gonna let it only manage this database. So we're gonna add object, that one, hit OK. Now you see that it has basic privileges on here. Just select, I guess. You can give it global privileges like that. Notice the super stuff isn't on here. You have to be really careful with this stuff, because I made a boo-boo on one of my other install videos and didn't give it enough privileges. But I'm just going to give it, you know, all of these privileges on this one. Obviously, you don't want it. It's not going to drop tables and that kind of shit. But right, I'm just giving it admin rights basically to this, right? So I'm just going to click in there and I'm going to save that. I got my username and the password's correct there. Make sure username, password is correct. So save that, close it, go back into users, and you can see it's right there. It's created. It says user has empty password, but there's a password made in there, trust me. I don't know why it does that, but it has privileges only on that database. Okay? Now we need to populate this database. We're done with this one. I don't think we need to change anything else. Unless you want to turn... what does this have? Logging and stuff. You can read through this stuff if you want. And, you know, learn about it. This is where your base maintenance is done. So if you don't do your base maintenance every 6 days, by default it will, even if this is in here, it'll start deleting shit after 6 days. So you can change that if you want. You know, a lot of server owners, you know, they go 14 days. Some go like 30 days. If you want to turn it off, just go -1 and your base maintenance will be shut off. It won't ask you. It won't delete anything off your server. Not a good deal if you're using a public server though, because then you end up going through your database manually and deleting shit after players leave, you know, that kind of stuff. But I'm just going to turn it off because this is a test server. I'm going to leave the time as well to 1 o'clock. Save that, close it. We're done there. I don't think we need to do anything in config. Unless you want to, like right here, you can put you could password protect your server. This is also your custom server name if you want to call it something else. Like maybe I can go Jason's Namalsk server, right? Message of the day. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Okay, that's good. I'll capitalize this so it's more authoritative, right? Yeah. Okay. Don't change any of that. Max players, yeah, you can change that. Only allow 30 players in your server, whatever. If you're running a public server, you want to change this admin password. And if you're doing BEC on your server, there'll be like a Archon password to it in another file, but usually this password matches that password. But make sure you change this to something unique if you're running a public server. You don't want nobody to log into your password or your server as an admin. None of this stuff needs to be changed unless you want to turn off BattleEye. You can set that to 0. If you're running custom mods, you can turn off verify signatures, but don't do any of that on a public server, because then people can do whatever the fuck they want on your server and get away with it. Don't do it. Just change the name of your server, password protected if you want, change your message of the day to go fuck yourself, and yeah. Don't need to change anything in users. This is where the difficulty levels are though. There's recruit, regular, veteran, and mercenary, which has no third person view. and that's set here, difficulty. So that's where you find the difficulty anyway, is in that users folder. Default is veteran. Most people just leave it like that. Battle eye filters you have to do nothing with unless you're doing custom mods, which we will be doing on Namalsk. I will be editing these in the future. Mission file. I do want to change some shit here because the Namalsk is kind of a small server, a small map rather. So I don't want to have this is like Shinaris level debris and shit. I don't want 500. That's crazy. Let me go 100. Max vehicle limit 300 is insane on that map to start. So I'm going to go 100 there as well. Plot pull, I'm going to leave all this other shit. I don't want all that debris. I want my vehicles smaller. I don't think I need to change anything else off the bat. Remember, this is just a basic server install. Okay, so that's all that's all I'm going to do there. I'm going to change the dynamic vehicles a little bit too, but we need to populate this database. I'm getting sidetracked here. Let me stick with the program. You need to run that one. Don't need to run this one or this one on a fresh install. Just that one and this one. So Epoch. So let's make sure you got a green check mark here. Go to query and drop that in there and run it. See all this shit firing off down here? That blue button up there just executes this stuff. Okay, don't worry about the warnings. Control A, delete all that. Drop this one in there. Run it. Good. So let's refresh this. This green. Okay, so there's everything in there we need. Database is done. Close it. Hit no on here. It's asking you to save that. You don't want to save that. Let's go into the server real quick. This shouldn't be here. The devs left that shit here. So 1.0.6.2 shouldn't have this, but just delete this. You want this server PBO. So use your PBO manager. You should have this installed and extract it to this Dayz server folder. I want to go into its system. Okay, so open up Dayz server folder, go to system, and then dynamic vehicles.sqf. This map is small, and if you allow planes to spawn, it's fucking impossible to take off. So I like to just delete the planes. Right, so I'm going to get rid of this AN2 cargo plane. There's actually, what is there, 3 of them here? I'm going to get rid of the AN2 cargo planes. This C-130, you betcha, out of there. There's no fucking way you can take off in that. Some of this other, these little gyros, I think maybe, I don't remember which one is the one with the, looks like the little bullet. These ones here are Cessnas, the C-185s. I'm going to get rid of those. I don't want those planes. You can customize anything you want in here. You can add vehicles. You can remove them. I've done that in another video. I think everything else is okay, unless there's some more planes, but I don't think there is. I just don't want the planes in there because it's a bitch to take off. And the C-130, there's no freaking way. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave it like that. I got rid of the planes. Save that, close it. And this is where you need to have PBO manager, of course, to... Okay, I'm going to delete this one since I've updated. And I'm going to pack that. Now, if you have multiple servers installed, because I did that mod, it's going to apply to all of the servers that use that server PBO. So sometimes you might want to make a custom PBO, I mean a custom folder here where you'd call this like Dayz_Namalsk. underscore Epoch server, and then make sure you go and change it in your batch file. So I'm doing a LAN server, so I have to have this as 2302. LAN servers have to have that port number. Otherwise, you could leave it on a dedicated box. But you see how it's calling these mod folders, Namalsk, Dayz underscore Epoch, and Epoch server. You could change that. In fact, let's do it. If I'm going to call this Dayz underscore Namalsk underscore Epoch underscore server. And all you have to do is make sure that this matches. You're telling the server with this batch file to load what's in these folders, the add-ons that are in these folders. It doesn't care what you call them. You could call this fuckstick and it'll load stuff in fuckstick, you know. It's just looking for this, add-ons. Okay, so let's... Okay, so now if you have another server installed like Shanaris or another map, you could customize the Namalsk one however you want, and it won't apply to the other ones because it's calling a unique set of add-ons that are in this folder. Okay? I don't know that you have to call Namalsk first. Maybe you do though, so I'm going to leave it there. What does it even say? It says Namalsk. I don't think these are case sensitive either. We'll find that out. But yeah, that's you can change these however in Namalsk. So make sure you save that. Okay. I don't think I did a couple of things in the made a couple of changes there, but you don't have to. I'm gonna make this now. Once you've got this, your edits complete in the mission file, you can PBO it. You don't have to do that either, but you know, that's just procedure, right? Make a mission folder into a mission PBO. So I don't think we have to do anything else. Let me check my file real quick. Let's see. Battle Life folder, okay. One thing we didn't do, since we set that event schedule to be on, I gotta do this. Password protected. Let's go to just here, query, and let's go type this in here. See this? This is how you check if your event scheduler's on. So all caps, select space and then lowercase event underscore scheduler, and you can't hit enter. That just brings it down to the next line. You need to hit this execute SQL, and you see the event scheduler's off. So did I restart the server? Let's do that. Make sure you want to make sure this starts so it can run these events. You see these things with calendars? Those are events. So let's shut that down and let's make sure that stop this and start it. Okay, and this was configured, right? Yeah, event scheduler equals on. So you have to stop. Maybe I forgot to do that. Did I? I don't know. I can't remember. Let's open this back up and see if that started it. Whoop. Password. So all caps, select space at event underscore scheduler. Whoops, execute. Okay, see now it's on. So I just forgot to turn it off and turn it back on, didn't I? May I go back in the video and check that. But you see how it's on? You want this to start automatically when you start the server. That's why you put that line in there on the my.ini. This line you want in there to make sure you start that scheduler, because otherwise it won't run these events. right? Update, you know, this, you need to have that on. So I just wanted to check that. Nope, don't save it. What was that? Let's see. Did the difficulties, we got that. Customize the vehicle spawns and shit. Did that. Yeah, so we're ready to log in. This thing is completely configured as far as I know. Sometimes I miss shit, but you know. So I did create a shortcut over here for my server. I'm going to start the, holy fuck, I got 3 of these running. Quit. Remember what I said, you got to quit. How many do I have running now? Just 1, okay. Don't have more than 1 running because it'll fuck up your thing. You get errors in your event viewer to say something about could not update tables because only one of them's doing it. Okay, so good. Make sure 1 instance of that is running, XAMPP. And then let's start the client. Yep, okay. So you have to start the client first before you start the server on the same, if you're running it from the same machine. But I can double click there now and start that. So I did start my server there. And I already enabled the mods, but remember you need Epoch and Namalsk on both the server and the client side. So when you log into the client files, if you're using a batch file or something, that's cool. I'm just doing old school login here. So you see I have Namalsk Crisis enabled, and then Epoch. You don't need this Namalsk. That's just a add-on within here. We are going to get an error. I'm going to show you what that is. So there's my server, Jason's Namalsk server, right? That's what I named it. I'm going to join. Make sure you have those mods enabled though. And Namalsk should be loaded before Epoch. Let's see if I get this error right away. It's going to be like the Dayz or NS_Dayz PBO. And where did I spawn? Way at the fucking north, didn't I? There's a vehicle right there. And some zombies. So I wonder if it's going to give me this NS. Usually it'll say like NS_Dayz. But we'll add that in the next video. We start digging into these Namalsk features that you can add to your server. But that's an install right there. What you want to do after you install, you know, you get logged in, you can run around, we're good. And you want to check to make sure that you have your RPTs are clean. No errors. But that's how you install Namalsk on a very basic level. And in the next video we'll get into customizing this server. Let's check the RPTs real quick now that the server's run and you know, had a chance to upload the or not upload, but spawn vehicles and shit. Okay, log out. Disconnect, cancel. Really? This was already running. Silly goose. Okay. I guess you get warning messages like that the first time you run the Arma 2 exe or server exe. You need to check Open your Dayz server folder, go to instance 15 Namalsk. This generated a file. It also generates some other stuff. There's your server DLL. You want to check this RPT and check and see if you got errors. This should be clean. Cleanup player not found because I logged out. This is where it's writing all the vehicle data, and there was 100 vehicles, so that's gonna be a lot of shit here. Yeah, and what we're looking for is errors. Debug, okay. Good. Okay. This is a player without identity. It does that before it assigns you a whatever player ID. That's not an actual error. And then to check the client RPT, once you've done this, then you checked it and there's no errors. You could actually Control A on that, hit backspace, delete all that, and then save it. Now you have a fresh RPT. So next time you log in, you'll have fresh data when you start installing and configuring. You need to go to C or wherever you have, yeah, it's a C, users, your name, and then you notice how this is it's a hidden file. So you have to have, in that folder options, you have to show hidden files. So you need app data, local, ARM2OA, and here is your client RPT. So look at that, and I'm gonna look at the very last server I logged into, looking for errors. See, this is all where it starts loading stuff. There's no errors in here. Looped for animation, that's not a real error. Global namespace not passed, or whatever that means. Error position true, global space. These are just built into the Namalsk. Those aren't real errors. There's another one that's in the old. These are, see this NS Dayz, that is actual add-on. That's an add-on. So we're gonna add that in the next video. But this is just built into those old Dayz files from, it's an old vanilla server. So yeah, same bullshit. So good, we're good to go there. I'm gonna actually, you know what, I'm gonna clean this out too, so when I log in next time I'll have a fresh RPT. That's it, guys, on a install on Namalsk Dayz Epoch 1.0.61 server install. That's all there is to it. Alright, we'll see you next time.